Dear friends, so let's talk about some BRICS news today with Alex Christoforou. I'm sure everyone here on the Think BRICS channel knows Alex. He likes to describe himself as a random guy walking down the street. But Alex, you are very popular online. You are a very popular online creator, social media personality, and podcaster. So Alex's channel is one of the biggest on YouTube about geopolitics. And we personally were big fans of both of you, Alex, and your friend and Alexander Mercuris and the Duran project that you run. So we are
Thank you.
delighted
Thank
to
you for
have
the
you here
welcome.
with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Big fan of your work, and it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. So, um, first of all, welcome to Think BRICS. So at Think BRICS, we talk about BRICS. So, and today we will be talking about some BRICS news. So, I would like just not to lose some time. Let's start our journey today with the Kazan Summit held in late October 2024. We had the privilege of attending this event as accredited media alongside international bloggers and TV networks from half the world. And another half, well, they seem to forget that this major event was even happening in Russia, but we used to do that by now. Um, I'd like to propose a thought before asking my first question, so bear with me for a moment. The Kazan summit was expected to make history by launching the BRICS payment system, an alternative to SWIFT. Instead, it became more about expanding the group again. At the previous summit in 2023, 6 new countries joined, then Argentina withdrew, and we are still waiting to see what role Saudi Arabia will play. But this is another story. In short, this summit was supposed to mark the triumph of the de-dollarization, but instead we saw more expansion with new BRICS partner countries. BRICS a partner belt, they call that, including Belarus, Kazakhstan, Bolivia, and Uganda, Cuba, to name a few. Few days after the summit, another major event shook the world: Trump's return to the US presidency. And now he's threatening BRICS nations with 100% tariffs if they refuse to use the US dollar as their primary currency. Meanwhile, leaders are reassuring him that they don't want a single currency or financial war with the dollar. Yet at the same time, they're pushing ahead with their alternative payment system. So the question in Kazan, did BRICS leaders deliberately buy time, knowing Trump's victory was coming, to have a later confrontation with the United States in financial terms? Or was de-dollarization always more of a political slogan than an economic reality? What do you think?
I think it's more of a slogan, or at least the media. I believe the media, even in the alternative media space, I think that we hyped it up a lot more than probably the politicians and leaders attending the BRICS summit in Kazan were expecting. There was a lot of talk about some sort of a currency being launched, but there was also a lot of statements from the Russian side, from, I remember, the Chinese side as well. India also, where they were talking more about the expansion, but also more about laying down the foundation, the architecture, the institutions for an eventual type of currency. And they always say it's not a currency that's going to be created to knock out the dollar or anything like that. They're always very careful to say that what the institutions and the architecture which will be using whatever currency or settlement, it's probably better to even say the settlement process, whatever process is going to be used, it is going to be used inside of BRICS in order to facilitate trade between BRICS, as well as to firewall the BRICS countries off of any kind of sanctions or anything like that, which which obviously the United States and then the collective West has used against Russia. So I think a lot of the Kazan Summit was more about putting the pieces in place, putting the bricks together, I guess you could say, so that you could eventually, longer term, get to some sort of a settlement process, which may involve a currency, most likely something digital. I mean, that's basically what they're telling us right now. They'll be looking at some sort of blockchain digital solution, probably something that we won't even be aware of. Everyday consumers. This will probably sit, at least at the first stage, and for many years going forward, it will probably sit on a government-to-government level. Then it'll get carried over to banks. And then who knows, in 10, 15 years, 5, 10, 15 years, who knows where this will take us to. A lot is going to be changing, obviously, with blockchains and with CBDCs and all of these things, not only for BRICS, but for the entire world. So I think the leaders, they took a step back. They saw that the media was hyping up the currency a lot, but they took a step back and they said, okay, we don't need to rush anything. We still have a lot of institutions and a lot of architecture to put in place. We got an expansion which is taking place as well, which brought in a lot of very populous countries. So BRICS is a very big organization, if you want to call it that. It's a big entity now, and they're more focused on getting it right. And once they have everything set, and they have this alternative economic architecture in place, economic system and architecture in place, then we'll probably see something being introduced. But it'll be at a country-to-country settlement level. So we may not even know much about it for many years to come.
Okay, I see. Let's stay on Trump and de-dollarization for a moment to explore another hot topic among our viewers. Here is the quick introduction. One of the strongest voices against abandoning the dollar has always been India. As a founding BRICS nation, India is rising on the global stage, though it still faces many internal challenges. Yeah. Historically, India has been a non-aligned country, always aiming to maintain good relations with everyone from Russia to the United States, even dealing with the unpredictable European Union. So lately, it has also resumed a more peaceful dialogue with its longtime rival, China. It's clear that Trump administration is using carrot approach with India while taking a stick when it's talking to another BRICS nations like South Africa, for instance, or Iran. So this strategy is clearly meant to weaken BRICS, and we at our channel we have discussed that in many of our videos. So, but India remains in the Quad with the United States while also being a BRICS co-founder and SCO member. So Shanghai Cooperation Organization. But as China and Russia grow closer, you are aware that today and yesterday and today there is an official visit of Wang Yi, Chinese foreign minister in Russia. So is Delhi India becoming BRICS an official mediator or just sitting on the fence? How long, my question is, how long can India can keep both Washington and Moscow happy without choosing sides?
I think forever. I think forever. I think India has the skill to do that. But I think for India, it's not so much about being in a mediating position or trying to keep both sides happy. I think India has always been a country that values this non-aligned position on the global stage, and it does get along with the United States. It does get along with Russia. China, it's working on it. So I mean, there's obviously disputes that we all know about between China, but I believe they'll work that out, and it'll probably be Russia that will be helping to iron out those disputes. they'll get solved within BRICS. But India has always been in this type of position, with or without BRICS. They've always kept very good relations with Russia. They've kept very good relations with the United States, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I think India is one of the big three of BRICS. Obviously, you have Brazil and South Africa, but I believe the three big countries in BRICS are India, Russia, and China. And I think India is going to continue to take BRICS forward. I don't see anything changing to knock India off of its current foreign policy position. BRICS, it's going to remain committed. Good relations with the United States will continue, and I think that's just going to be the way it's going to proceed. I also think, going back to Trump, the question about Trump, I also believe that BRICS absolutely is watching what Trump does. Obviously, everyone is watching what Trump does. We have the tariffs, we have Liberation Day and tariffs all over the world that the United States is placing. India, not so much, because the United States can't really do much to India with regard to tariffs. But the BRICS, I believe, are going to follow their own path, whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden, or if it would have been Harris. I don't think the BRICS are going to allow external forces to dictate to them how they're going to develop and how they're going to grow.
Well, recently, from Indian government, they announced that they are actually not interested in de-dollarization.
Putin said he's not. Well, Putin didn't say he's not interested. Putin said, "Of course, we'll use the dollar." I think the main message that BRICS is getting out to the United States is, don't use the dollar as a weapon. If you don't use the dollar as a weapon, we'll gladly use the dollar. We are going to put systems in place so that we can facilitate transactions and trade and settlements and also protect against the dollar being used as a weapon, which is the right thing to do. But if the dollar is not used as a weapon, then there really isn't anything stopping India or Russia from using the dollar. Putin was very clear. You took the dollar away from us. We didn't say we don't want to use the dollar. You took it away from us. You weaponized it. And Russia's not the only country that it's been weaponized against. And I'm positive that India, they may say we have we don't want to de-dollarize, but there's no doubt about it that India is also seeing what happened to Russia and how the dollar was weaponized against Russia. And of course, they're going to say, if we can have something in place that can protect us just in case the dollar is weaponized against us, well, that's great. I mean, every country is probably operating in that mindset, every country outside of the collective West. And even some countries inside the collective West are also worried about the dollar being weaponized against them.
I see. Recent discussions on your channel, the Duran channel, you and Alexander Mercurius analyzed Putin's speech to Russian industrialists about sanctions, that sanctions will remain, that unlikely to be lifted. We also covered this speech of President of the Russian Federation, highlighting Putin's full pivot toward BRICS. Actually, he told that. And meanwhile, China's foreign minister, Wang Yi, as I mentioned, he is in Moscow today, reaffirming the bond with Russia. The quote I read, "Friends forever, never enemies." So the message was clear. The era of a single global leader is over. And in his interview to Sputnik, he stated that warming ties between Russia and the United States could help stabilize global power dynamics, offering a rare note of optimism in uncertain times. It seems that a new balance of power is forming, not America versus the world, but a system of three poles: China, Russia, and the US. The world faces a growing certainty deficit, he told, calling on major powers to act as stabilizers. This wasn't just a diplomacy, it was a really check. The unipolar moment has collapsed under Eurasian realities. China is no longer a silent partner, it's now a power in its own right, stepping onto the world stage with confidence. Moscow is not isolated, and Washington can no longer dictate the rules. Will the United States accept its role in a multipolar order or resist as the world reshapes without it?
$1 million question, isn't it? Will they? I don't know. I think eventually they will. Eventually they'll have to, but I believe it's going to be a very bumpy road for the United States to get there. It doesn't have to be. I mean, this could be very simple decisions made by the Trump administration to just accept the reality of what's happening. It's not going to revert back to how it was 10, 15 years ago. And you can see that in the visits by Wang Yi and in Moscow with Lavrov, and also meeting with Putin. They're committed, Russia and China and BRICS. Russia's committed to BRICS. China's committed to BRICS. Russia and China, they're in this together. They've got this alliance, this friendship. They don't call it an alliance, but that's what it is. They've got this alliance, and obviously nothing's going to tear Russia away from China or tear China away from Russia, which is what a lot of the analysts, many analysts in the United States, that's what they talk about. We got to tear Russia away from China, or we got to figure out a way to move China from Russia. That's not happening. That's not happening, and I think the United States needs to accept that, and they need to figure out their place in this new world system. And China's telling them this can be a system where we do have certain spheres of influence, powerful poles, which are directing the way the world is going to move. And China's saying it's China, it's Russia, the United States, India is a rising power. 3 of those countries are in BRICS. Obviously, the United States will be babysitting the Europeans, I guess. I mean, this is the way the world is moving. But
Look, you told that it is almost inevitable that Russia and China will split. But actually, as soon as that negotiations winds and the rumors appeared in Russian media, there were speculations about that. Oh, look, now Russians will follow Americans again, and China will remain abandoned.
no, I think Putin cleared that up. He cleared that up at that business, the industry event as well. I think this time the one thing that's very different as compared to say 2014 with Minsk and all of that stuff is that Russia's not going to fall for any of these promises from the West again. They've been burned 2-3 times, and Putin says as much. That they've been burned multiple times with the offers that the West has made. And one thing's clear: after the conflict in Ukraine, as we have the conflict in Ukraine unfolding, it's very clear that the West does not want an equal partnership with Russia, and it's very clear that the West does not want an equal partnership with China. Eventually, the United States is going to have to accept it. That's my view of things. If they don't accept it, then we're in for a lot of trouble in the world. Obviously, we're going to have a very difficult future ahead of us if the United States cannot accept it. I hope they do.
Well, yesterday I visited Moscow Economic Forum. Let's say it was a very interesting discussion. One I visited. It was dedicated to divisions, new bloc divisions in the world, and the Chinese representative mentioned about the fact recently. I don't remember the name. The United States officials visited Japan, encouraging, "You are brave soldiers. Good." So What for? They told the Chinese representative told. So you see, he told that the United States is trying to find another proxies,
Sure, sure.
and because actually the United States cannot start the war with China, cannot actually, and the proxies are Japan or Philippines.
Well, I agree. I agree that they're looking for proxies. I agree that that they'll look at the Philippines, they'll look at Japan. They may look elsewhere. I don't know. They've got Ukraine as a proxy right now. Perhaps they're going to convince the Europeans, another country in Europe, to act as a proxy. I don't know. Maybe they'll get Germany. Maybe they'll get Poland. Maybe they'll get Romania. The question, you always have to come back to the question: how much failing can this proxy system endure? Because it is failing, and the defeat in Ukraine is going to be a big blow to the United States, and especially to that neocon part of the United States that is always pushing this type of proxy war, because they look at this type of proxy war as beneficial to the U.S., and it'll keep the unipolar system alive just a little bit longer. But it can't survive. I don't think it can survive past Ukraine. This is why Ukraine is so important to them. A defeat in Ukraine will be a very big defeat for the West and for the United States and for the neocons. Will it knock them out completely? Probably not, but it's going to weaken them significantly. And, if you go 10 years back and look at where we are today, they've already been weakened significantly. They really have. In the media space, economically, and with BRICS. I mean, 10 years ago, we weren't talking about BRICS. We were talking about BRICS now. And now everyone wants to enter BRICS. BRICS has the momentum. The EU is on the
Yeah.
decline. The EU's become a laughingstock, actually. People are laughing at the European Union day in, day out, while BRICS has risen to become not only a powerful organization, but a respected organization. So, I mean, the trajectory is there. I'm hoping that there'll be there'll be cooler heads in the United States, more rational thinkers and politicians in the United States who will understand that while it's not to their liking, because they've gotten so used to the unipolar moment, that moment has passed. And we always got to remember the U.S. has a lot of domestic issues that it can't avoid any longer, especially related to their debt, to their spending. So it can't extend too far into taking on Russia and then China and continuing these proxy wars. The neocons will never stop, but we always got to remember the neocons. They live in a fantasy world of unlimited resources. For them, everything's unlimited. There's unlimited dollars, there's unlimited weapons, unlimited missiles, unlimited proxies, unlimited enemies. But that's just the mindset of the neocons. I'm hoping eventually we'll get past this neocon mindset, but I'm hoping. Whether that's what really is going to happen, I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. Let's move to Brazil. Unexpectedly, yeah? Brazil is the chair this year in BRICS, and Brazil's presidency in 2025 is a balancing act. They are preparing for the Rio summit in July, and at the same time organizing for COP30. In addition, Lula is grappling with party disputes, and Dilma Rousseff has decided to remain as NDB chair and is pushing for more local currency deals at the BRICS Bank, despite Trump's tariff threat. With all this, will Brazil be able to keep up with Russia from the 2024 summit, or will this divided focus turn the summit into a mere formality instead of an important step toward a multipolar world?
I believe they will. I believe at the moment, BRICS and Brazil and Lula are committed to BRICS. I believe they'll be able to continue the work that was accomplished, that happened in Kazan. Brazil is definitely in the most vulnerable position, I would say, when it comes to BRICS. A lot of it has to do with its geography.
Hmm.
BRICS is, as you correctly said, as you were reading the statement from Wang Yi, he said the word Eurasian in his statement. There is a sense of BRICS as being more oriented towards Eurasia and Asia, but Brazil's important because Brazil is that foothold in Latin America. It's a huge country, a huge economy, and it has huge potential. Whether BRICS can make significant inroads in South America, especially given now that Trump has basically declared that the Americas are his sphere of influence, the U.S.'s sphere of influence, and we have everything going on in Greenland and the Panama Canal. I think we're going to have to give it some time and wait and see exactly how far the U.S.'s sphere of influence is expected to reach, according to Trump's, if you can call it Trump's doctrine or his view of Fortress America, as some people call it. Does it encompass much of South America? Are we talking Brazil? If that's the case, then yeah, Brazil's got a challenging couple of years ahead, but I think it'll make it through.
Actually, as I mentioned yesterday, when I visited that panel discussion at Moscow Economic Forum, there was also a Brazilian representative he was talking about BRICS as well, mentioning that for Brazil, it's not an easy situation because number of BRICS countries, almost all BRICS countries are there, and Brazil is here in the North American, we can say, neighborhood.
Yeah.
And for them to maintain the relationships with the United States and to keep and develop relationships with BRICS, mainly China, India, Russia, it's very complicated. But they will try to manage all that. And actually, for me, it was a surprise for me that I didn't know that Brazil is trading with Indonesia more than with Germany.
I didn't know
So
that. I
me
didn't know
too.
that.
I didn't know that. Actually,
Bolivia is also in in the new BRICS, right?
BRICS partner belt.
BRICS partner belt. Yeah. Argentina was a setback because if Argentina had stuck with BRICS, that would have been a big support for Brazil.
Yes, exactly. But with Millet, it's it's not
Yeah.
it is not possible. So, and continuing about the BRICS, and he told that Indonesia, that became the full member this year, as soon as Brazil took the chair, they announced that Indonesia is the member country. So the trading partner, the first trading partner for Brazil is China, like for most countries in the world, then India, and they mentioned that actually, thanks to BRICS, Brazil and India strengthened their relationships, mainly in military sphere. So this is from the one hand, and from another hand, they're the only country in Latin America, in Americas that are in BRICS.
Yeah, the geography is challenging, and Brazil has a good good relations with the United States, and it should
Yeah,
keep good relations with the United States. Absolutely, it's in its interest to have a good relationship with the United States. What needs to happen is that the United States needs to stop thinking as if BRICS is a threat, trying to try and break it apart and start looking at BRICS as a partner. And I believe that's where ideally that's where China and Russia would like to move, and India and Brazil. That's where they would like to move the United States. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to move the U.S. into that type of a position because they see everything as a threat.
Yeah. So they see Russia as a threat, China as a major threat, then Latin America is a threat. Only India is not by now, maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
that could change. Who knows? You never
yeah,
know. With the U.S., you never know.
who knows?
Yeah.
We have one question. If you don't mind, I will ask you that from our subscribers. What role do you envision BRICS playing in shaping a multipolar world order, and how might these internal dynamics and external pressures influence its future trajectory?
I think BRICS is the multipolar order. I mean, I think it's manifested through BRICS. So, I mean, I think there is no multipolar world without BRICS. That's the way I view it. Without BRICS, we would not be talking multipolar world. As far as external forces, China said it just the other day in Moscow. Wang Yi, once again, he said there are going to be no external forces that are going to pressure us or divert us from our goals or break us apart. So I think they're not they're looking at the external pressures. I don't want to say they're not looking at this. They're looking at Trump. They understand the U.S. and what it's looking to do. They understand the Europeans and what they're looking to do. They understand the tariffs and the trade wars that are coming. But I also believe that BRICS they've got a plan, a long-term plan, and I think they're dedicated to that long-term plan.
Do you personally, do you expect another expansion?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Who
Yeah, I
would
do.
be the next member?
I don't know. Maybe my hope would be for some European countries to enter. To be quite honest, I would love Serbia to enter BRICS. I think that would be very important. I I mean, I understand why they don't pull the
Mhm.
trigger on that yet. It's a very tricky situation in Serbia. But man, if BRICS could get a nice foothold in Europe, like Europe proper, then I think we could be seeing some very big things happening. Good things, some very good things happening.
Actually, about Serbia, recently they implemented a working group in the parliament to develop their relations with BRICS. We do not say about the memberships or partners, but that step that they have implemented the working group to, it's a big step forward.
Yeah,
Big step forward.
they're in a very tricky situation,
There, yeah.
very difficult situation. But BRICS is a natural fit for them. Obviously, they have excellent relations with Russia, but they have a very good relationship with just about all of the BRICS countries, even China. They have excellent relations with China and a lot of investment from China. I mean, if you can get Serbia, who knows where you could go after that? You could be looking perhaps Hungary in the future.
No way. I think
Who
not.
knows? I never say never. I think these things are possible if BRICS can make inroads into Europe. The EU is getting weaker. BRICS is getting stronger, and I think that's the key to all of this. And the U.S. needs to understand that it can work with BRICS. It doesn't need to work against BRICS.
We hope they will hear you
They
well.
won't. They won't. But we could try.
Well, Alex, thank you. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
Well, you are very insightful, and your insightful perspective with us today. Thank you very much. It was great to have you on Think BRICS. Thank you for your
Th-
time.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Keep up the excellent work, and
Thank you.
hope to be back soon. Take care.
We are doing our best. And I would say to our viewers, we would love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this discussion, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get more interesting content. See you soon again and keep asking questions. Stay interested and join the conversation. Thanks for watching.